Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 7th episode of 911 Podcast. This is Hillary, and I'm here.
And I'm here as well, still here. This is Chris, co-hosting Hillary's podcast, 911.
And who is joining us tonight?
So we've got Ian.
Ian McCaffrey. Welcome. And he's bringing some fabulous rosé this evening.
Thanks for allowing us to coerce you to come do this podcast, because I've also been coerced. And I'm helping Hillary do her podcast.
Yeah, luckily it's a beautiful Friday evening. We're able to sit outside and speak into these microphones and do our thing. It's awesome.
So I know Ian from high school, actually, but he's a local St. Helenan, and he's a winemaker as well. So if you want to touch on those things.
Yeah, well, I'll just go into when we first met, actually. I remember, like, the first day.
Because I left that much of an impression.
Well, it was my first experience in St. Helena, so I was not born here.
Hillary was your first experience in St. Helena?
Not my first experience in St. Helena.
And you decided to stay
my
here.
first memory of Hillary.
Wow.
Yeah. Incredible. Despite my pleas to my family, I had to stay.
Hey, guys.
So I was born in Santa Cruz County, and after graduating from 8th grade up there, my dad is an engineer and got a job working in production in Napa, and so I moved up here to start high school. And when I shadowed you, that was in the end of my 8th grade year, so probably June of 2008, May June of 2008. And I just remember walking the St. Helena campus, being introduced to some of the teachers there, and sitting in the main gym and just kind of chatting about what the school meant, and it was really neat. So if I didn't come here, I would have been at like a 4,500 kid school in Aptos. So
and that's why you picked St. Helena High School, is because of my influence.
Yeah, well, you know that, and I'm a dependent, and my parents moved here, so.
Well, I feel you did pretty good by meeting Hillary day one. I mean, she was an influencer. Before there was influencers in St. Helena, her dad's, the athletic director, St. Helena High School.
I'm working my way up to Instagram influencer.
She's kind of a big deal around here.
Even if I make fun of them, I'm halfway there.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Doing well, yeah. So anyway, as much as I chide Hillary, we are really excited to have you and your wine here, which is called California Icons. And just look at the label; it's really awesome, simple. Got a really amazing drawing of some local icons right in California, with a really cool gold foiled embossed star up at the top left. So talk to us about the wine and the label.
Yeah, so the whole premise of the company is to basically put something on the shelf in front of wine buyers that people would recognize and kind of resonate with on a personal level. So the whole idea came to me last March when I was cataloging somebody's personal wine cellar, and I was looking through hundreds and hundreds of different wine labels and seeing like what I thought was cool. And besides the renowned houses that kind of had their established repertoire and like purchasing history, how would you resonate with a brand that was new to you? And for this, it was really just taking two spots that I really enjoy a lot, and San Francisco and Santa Monica in LA are two of those places. So for the San Francisco label, it's Coit Tower, and a couple of my best friends live very close to Telegraph Hill, so that's essentially my home away from home. Anytime I want to escape St. Helena, small town, and have a chance at nightlife or other type of cross-cultural cuisine. And then the Santa Monica label is Station 26, where my girlfriend Stevie and I had one of our first dates down in Santa Monica.
Cool. And shout out to Stevie.
Yeah,
I think
Stevie
she's
Lamb.
Wonderful.
Love you, babe.
She is a incredible addition to St. Helena.
Yeah.
Like, way to import a good one.
Yeah, she's awesome. So she'll appreciate that.
Found her Station 26. Very cool.
Yeah, babe, stay in St. Helena. It's great.
But so you have these places that mean something to you, and also, by the way, mean a lot to most Californians. They can at least kind of associate with, right? So you got pictures of these locations, and then you guys turn them into art that you put on the label.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bootlegged process, but
my
roommate and I essentially created these labels on our own. And if you go through like a full, like obviously to have it professionally done is you're ensuring that from beginning to finish you're going to have all the right steps go. But to do it ourselves on Adobe Illustrator was kind of a fun process as well, and see all the different versions, alterations, and come up with a final design was really neat. So it's a pretty prominent front label. It's 3.5 inches wide by 5 tall with a slight taper, so it's kind of a broad, large cotton. And it's a newer cotton label too, so the whole point about rosés is to be able to dunk it in an ice bucket. So this actually has like some kind of moisture wicking properties as well. So you can drop it in an ice bucket and it won't bubble at all. It's awesome.
Sweet. So then the wine in there, man, it smells great. Run us through the story about how you got the wine into the bottle.
Yeah. So I've always kind of been interested in rosés and enjoyed those a bunch. So this is a Grenache rosé 2019 from the Central Coast, with the predominant fruit coming from Monterey and a balance from Paso.
Man, smells awesome, man. It smells so good.
Thank you.
Really
crisp,
refreshing.
Super fun.
Awesome acidity. Cool. I dig it.
So I only made 190 cases,
and
this is the inaugural vintage. This podcast is happening in the incubation
sold
period
already with most of it, right?
Yeah. So the Coit Tower label, I have an awesome partnership with Good Eggs, which is an online retailer in San Francisco, and they, I had a meeting before all of this craziness went down. And luckily, their business platform and how they run is they fulfill online grocery orders. So all those people that were going to the grocery store are now working with them. So they've seen a massive influx in customers, and I think that's actually pretty opportune timing. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting the word out there and spreading some love for all the SF and Bay Area people. But it's super fun.
Just like we were talking earlier about the marketing aspect of it, like how people associate with something and they're willing to maybe gravitate towards that without even having tried the wine. So, I mean, talk to me about your marketing.
Yeah, so it's a crazy stat that I learned almost 2 years ago, so it's probably changed by now and increased, but I heard that there were 14,000 individual labels in California alone.
Wow.
And so when you think of that and you think of all the different people trying to do something creative, how do you differentiate yourself on the shelf? And as I was doing that wine label or that personal seller organization, I was thinking, all right, so how do these companies differentiate from each other? And so when you're on the shelf, you need to have something that's super simple, clean, elegant, but also resonates with the customer. And what else resonates more than a place from like where they live? So it's a really awesome thought, and I like it a lot because it's about making small lot wines for a specific group of people. It's catered towards that population, and that's how it should be. Yeah. And so it's not trying to mass market or like shotgun approach it.
Sure.
But everyone can still enjoy it.
Well, it's so cool because you could go to San Francisco and be like, even for a tourist, they shows up and there's this cool, there's the Coit Tower, you get, the whole, it's a fire nozzle, right? Yeah. And you get the whole story behind it, and then you can take this home with you after your trip to San Francisco. So, not only people, it's a fire nozzle. You didn't know that?
Yeah, so it's a memorial to the firefighters for the great fires in San Francisco.
You know what? I never knew that.
Yeah, don't say you didn't learn anything on 911.
There you go.
I learn something every episode. Sometimes not what I wanted to learn.
Sometimes just about loose Aussie dogs running around.
Which we'll definitely get into.
Should we do it now?
Did you hear about the loose Aussie dogs?
We touched on it last week. I'm the one that told you about these loose Aussie dogs.
Well, let me just take everyone through it real quick.
But we have to tell everyone what logs we're doing.
Oh, my God, yeah, of course. And wait, before we do that, Ian, what is it you think we do here? We always ask that question to our poor guest, and I say poor because
honored guest.
He showed up.
Let's just say I sat down. I was handed a Modelo and lime, and 3 pieces of paper with the police logs. So besides that, I know nothing. But let's go.
We like to keep our guests in the dark. Here we go.
So we're doing September 2014. We're doing kind of just a kind of random assortment, and we're also doing September 2019. We figured we'd throw it back on 2 of them, but somewhat recent, so a little more relatable than kind of the 90s ones.
I like it. Sounds good.
Yeah. So about
very
those,
little organization to 911 Wine. We jump around various months. We have nothing in linear, logical order. But that's what makes it fun, I suppose. Tuesday, August 27th. A stray Australian Shepherd was spotted near the high school. A humane trap is already set in the area, and according to the police department, it's okay to leave out bowls of water with ice, but don't feed or try to catch the dog.
Did you hear about these dogs, Ian?
The Aussies I did not, no. But
Yeah.
I know that there's probably more police log calls for St. Helena about dogs than anything else.
So these dogs were running rampant around the town. They weren't really causing any harm or any destruction.
Were they someone's? Did they get lost, or were they just
I
new
think it
to
was
St.
like a
Helena?
set of puppies, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, we should have just let them be like the dogs of the town. You know how sometimes we have
The
like
town mascots.
these travelers that kind of hang out on benches and such, and the town welcomes them and brings them morning coffee. Like, I think we should do this via dog, and we'll put like dog bowls out in the yards, and it's like, oh, it's just for the Aussies. We could name them. They could show up to town events.
Well, apparently people are really concerned about these dogs because at 2:28 in the morning on Saturday, the 31st of August, someone called the police department and said that one of these loose Aussie dogs was running around Main Street in Charter Oak, and an officer could not catch it, which is a great mental image of an officer running around trying to catch one of these loose Aussie dogs. And then later that day, 4:41 in the afternoon, the same loose Aussie dog was spotted behind the library. It was too skittish to be caught, so the police set a humane trap. All right. And then, again, on September 7th at 22:48 in the evening, the last Aussie dog was spotted near Main and Grayson. An officer still couldn't catch it. So I
Wow.
think a few things we've learned from here. We need to probably name the Aussies, find some food for them, and give
Not
the
just
police
ice.
department some
Agility
agility training to catch the Aussie dogs.
Because it continued. On Monday, September 9th, a loose Aussie was spotted at Oak Adams, and it ran south toward Tainter. Do you think they have like a secret little hideout in town somewhere?
Yeah, it's that place you were taken care of and let one of the dogs loose from.
No. Different spot.
Different spot. I love it.
A throwback.
Let's hear it.
On Friday, September 19th at 7 a.m.
This is 2014.
This is 2014.
Okay. Ian, where were you in 2014?
2014, I was finishing up my second year at UC Davis in the viticulture and enology program.
Oh, no way. You went to Davis and did viticulture.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's why you make such delicious
Hold
tasting
on.
wine.
Hold on.
Wait
Now
a
that we know
minute.
that, pause. Police log can wait. Tell us about like the Davis enology viticulture program. Super cool.
Yeah. Awesome program. So
Yeah.
essentially there's several in California, but the top three are Davis, Cal Poly, and Fresno.
Okay, cool.
Davis being the most theoretical
Okay.
of the three, and Fresno and Cal Poly being more practical, hands-on.
Nice.
So there's pros and cons to both, but I really enjoyed being at Davis. Proximity to Napa Valley was super, logistical for me. So I was able to come back and do partial harvest for all of the falls. So in 2014, actually, I worked for Joel Gott at their Hoffman Lane facility.
Cool.
And made it we finished whites there and did a few reds because Davis is on the quarter system. So I was going back to school, 1st of October, super late. But awesome program. The facilities are amazing. They get, donations from a lot of the big wineries. And I definitely enjoyed my time there. Yeah, it was cool.
Awesome. That's such a cool spot to be.
Where were you in 2014?
I was in Honduras flying medevac helicopters.
Not
in the
driving
middle of
an
Honduras.
ambulance.
Flex.
Yeah, it's also driving. An
Casual flex.
Driving a helicopter.
How was that?
But there's definitely no viticulture in Honduras. I can say that unequivocally.
So in 2014, September, I was a baby nurse. And I was in my first job.
Like
and I
taking
was
care of babies?
no.
in
Like
the
I was
labor and delivery?
I was a new
A
nurse.
new-
New nurse, baby
Newborn
nurse.
nurse.
So let's hear it.
What about Speaking of bodily fluids and nursing,
Delicious.
Sunday, September 22nd at noon, a toilet near Crane Park tennis courts was flushing continuously.
Yeah, honestly. It's
We surmise happened there.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of Thai food.
We don't have a Thai food place in St. Helena.
That's the one thing that we're lacking.
It
a little
really,
bit more
I
of that.
have been thinking a lot about that during this
I
quarantine.
know.
I would just love some like pad thai.
Yeah, pad thai would be awesome.
Dude, the next business is going to be a noodle shop out of Coit Tower.
Ooh.
I would love to
that would
do
be
it.
ramen,
Pho
like ramen,
and
right?
ramen.
Someone steal this idea and run with
That's a
it.
great
Someone
idea.
with a restaurant background that knows what they're doing, because
Not
all
us.
I'm doing is having cravings and have no other sense of.
I mean,
Like,
St.
'cause
Helena already has
Terra's
its go
closed,
ahead.
so we don't have
Yeah.
ramen anymore.
That's true. And
Wait,
now that
sorry.
St. Helena has its own amateur podcast, naturally it needs a ramen place.
amateur ramen is
Very-
it's fine.
Would you rather have a professional podcast and an amateur ramen place, or a professional ramen place and an amateur podcast? All right, what's the next one, Hill?
There was an out-of-control juvenile on McCorkle Avenue.
McCorkle Avenue?
No way.
Where is
Say
that?
it isn't so.
McCorkle is...
It's by the olive oil factory.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, how about this one? Where'd the bat go? There we go. 23:18 at night on the 28th of August. A 1.5 foot wide bat was reportedly flying around inside of Spring Mountain Road home. Police referred the caller to the Napa Wildlife Rescue.
I'm
Foot and
glad
a
you
half.
clarified flying, because I was picturing like a baseball bat just like hanging out in a home. I was like, I don't get why that's an issue.
It's like, what is this plastic softball bat doing in here?
Why
didn't
is
order
it
a
swinging
wiffle
from
ball.
the
A foot and a
fan?
half or foot and a half flying
That's like a
bat
paddle.
That's
that is
tremendous.
a massive bat.
Yeah.
Massive.
But I feel anything
owl.
flying around your house rapidly, you would probably tend to
Exaggerate.
overestimate, right?
That's true. I don't think I'd invite it in though.
And would Napa Wildlife Rescue help capture the bat?
I
and
have a lot of animals at my house I'd like them to come take.
find it its forever home.
It's just a lot smaller.
Would you foster the 1.5 foot bat?
I don't, since this corona thing, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little biased against the bats.
Yeah.
So
Poor species.
I'm going
They do a
to...
lot of great things.
They're
Really?
awesome animals,
bugs.
but I don't think
They
I'm
should
up
be
for that.
eaten.
I'll stick with the dogs.
Okay, fair enough.
But speaking of pets, report of a sad-looking dog left in a parked car on Hunt Avenue.
See, this is where I think the police law gets interesting. It's when they add adjectives to dogs. So, what determines a sad-looking dog? If it's a bloodhound, then yes, it's going to be looking sad.
I
Because
think it
here,
was a state of being.
2014, they did the same thing, except in the opposite direction. Saturday, September 6th, police pick up a cute, small, brown, long-haired dog. I mean, if you were the neighbor and your dog was not called cute, how would you feel? I would
Be
call
upset.
it.
If Hank was not called cute, whew,
I'd have words with the dispatcher. Like, hey, look, my dog's missing, but he's cute, all right?
It's the cute one. They're like, sorry,
the
we
note.
only have a shaggy dog outside. This couldn't be yours.
Speaking of that, on August 27th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, also a pet problem, a guest at a local hotel said he had made reservations at the hotel because it was advertised as being pet-friendly. He and his companion have a pet cat. The hotel said there are no cats allowed and that the pet-friendly referred only to dogs, and they needed to leave the hotel. The hotel was outside of the city limits, so the matter was returned to the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I have two problems with this. One, if it says pet friendly, but it's only for dogs, that should
They
be
should
more-
specify.
False
yeah,
advertising,
should be
yeah.
should be defined.
that's like people that go to the airport with their emotional service peacock. Like,
Yeah, and that's the other problem I have is people
Not
who leave
that I
their
would
house
want
with
to
their
s-
cat
yeah.
is like that. I mean,
And how did they know? So
Well, that's what I'm saying. You should sneak the
Did they-
cat in. Like Jane would have smuggled in my
I
purse.
feel you could have put him in and put the cat in your suitcase. No, that'd be bad. But a handbag or a carrier, right?
There are Louis Vuitton
Cat-
bags that look like carrier purses. That
I'm
you-
gonna guess out of city limits. This was some bougie hotel.
Mhm.
The people coming in here had this cat, had a bedazzled leash, harness. It
Little
was
jingle bell on
whole
it.
9 yards.
Yeah.
I feel like this hotel should be used to it then. What about on Friday, September 19th, a trailer full of junk had reportedly been parked at Crane Park for 3 days?
Trailer full of junk.
Well, it's one man's trash is another man's treasure.
That's what I was thinking.
Just
How
because
do
I'm
we know
moving and I had to put all my furniture in Crane Park. It is not junk.
It's your
It is
prized
furniture
possessions.
for my living room.
And hey, you know what? Here's the one good thing about this. It wasn't Hunt Avenue for a change.
There you go.
Why does Hunt Avenue have all the problems on it?
Chris, I have one for you.
Let's hear it.
Viticulture.
Ooh,
All right.
cool.
Grapes were cut off the vine and left on the ground at Crane Avenue Vineyard. Police took a vandalism report.
What time of year?
September.
Early September.
Perfect. You know this.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a late green drop. Like you cut off the vine. What's going on?
Hey, maybe the guy can get an insurance claim out of it. Like, yep, people vandalized it. It reminds me of the 2 to 3, 4 a.m. Helicopters that routinely hover over the valley during frost season. You've heard about this, right?
Yeah, those are they must cost a lot of money
They
just
must
to float
could you
there.
imagine? Yeah, just floating there, hanging out and preventing frost.
So what we're saying is an earthquake didn't roll through like we did this on purpose.
Do you remember the earthquake in 2014?
I didn't live here, but yeah, I remember
Right.
it.
So down in I think it was Coombsville or Carnero, somewhere there, it was kind of like the epicenter of it. And on, I believe it was Cuttings Wharf, you could see the actual movement of the earth. And there was like an 18-inch displacement, thanks, of the road, right? And the news came down, and they got out of their news truck, and they took a video and explained how, look at what the damage that the earthquake did. It dropped all of these grapes onto the ground. Also in August.
Beautiful.
So, with farming, I mean, do you were you able to have any input on the grape farming, on the way that your rosé came out? Was it how'd you get the grapes?
Yeah, so biggest thing for me is just to make sure that you think about the style of the wine, you work backwards. So, stylistically for a rosé, you want bright acid, you want prominent floral aromatics, and lower alcohol. So the biggest thing is timing of pick. So this fruit was picked between 22 and 23 bricks, which is fairly early, and that was picked early in the morning, kept cold, direct to press.
And bricks is the sugar level of the grape.
Yeah,
for
so
people that don't speak wine.
Yeah, I mean, in general terms, sugar level, it's dissolved solids.
it's
so it's got a few other
my
things in there, but
layman's term.
beautiful. That's
Thank
yeah.
you.
So
We're at
23 or 22 to 23 sugar.
Okay.
There you go. And
Glucose.
then so picked early, so it's cold. Then it goes to the winery, picked into half-ton bins, so the smaller of the bins. Then it gets dumped into the press, where it is squeezed until the juice that comes out is then sent to a tank, and then that wine or that must is fermented low and slow for about 3 to 4 weeks to preserve all the aromatics, stay nice and cold, and you're left with a really refreshing rosé.
And what
It's awesome.
flavors should we be tasting?
Those stylistic drivers. It gets kind of finicky when you talk to different people, but for me, it's really floral. You get some strawberry, you get some citrus notes as well. So basically,
I was gonna say grapefruit.
yeah, round.
Look at
yeah,
this palate. It is
round,
just
rounded mouthfeel with a crisp kind of lift at the end too.
Cool.
So. Another thing that winemakers really like to get into is managing the CO2. So that's kind of a byproduct of fermentation. If you
We do that in
if you
people,
can
too.
maintain CO2 in the tank and not move the wine too much, it helps lift the wine. So it just has this nice kind of spritzy effervescence.
Nice.
It's nice. Yeah.
And then so you so let's see, so you crush it, you take it off the skins, and then you ferment it in stainless steel,
Yep.
right? Okay. And then sits there for how long?
So,
Generally?
well, like I said, 3 to 4 week fermentation,
Cool.
rack off lees,
Nice.
no ML.
Yep.
And for rosés like this, you would go cold stabilized, so you turn the jackets on.
Get down to like what, 40 degrees or so?
You get cold, so like as close
yeah.
to 32 as possible.
Nice. Okay. And that helps to
depends on the
drop,
capacity of the winery. Yeah.
Okay.
So
drop all the solids out,
drop
right?
your solid, drop your
okay.
charge rates.
Cool.
And then get ready for bottling. So it's nice to be able to bottle rosés in February, March, so that you're able to go and walk door to door and hand sell it.
So
which is,
pretty quick flash to bang for that, right? So I mean, picking in 19, and then you're bottled by, you said March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
Well, farming also leads to crime around here.
It does.
It's not just our whole economy and industry. At 9:31 on a Friday, a tractor fell into a ditch along Deer Park Road near Highway 29, and the road was partially blocked while its owner was trying to retrieve it.
Fell or was driven?
It says fell.
I know, that's the surprising
That
part.
is, yeah. That's
I think there was some help there.
That wouldn't be the first tractor
I was going to say, was that you?
It probably was. I've stuck my fair share of four-wheelers, tractors, and automobiles.
Into ditches?
I stuck a fire truck once on an
they
actual
still-
What
fire.
size?
Did they?
A full-size fire truck.
Like engine.
Type 1
And they still let you
fire
drive it?
engine. I was like 19. I just started driving the Rutherford.
That's probably
The
why
Rutherford
they
Fire
took your
Department.
quarter zip away.
That's why I had to leave. I had to go to the Army. You might want to find another job, Chris. Yeah, we were on a fire down by
So then they let you drive helicopters because you couldn't
Right?
handle.
It's like
There's less things to crash into
less
in the
things
sky.
to go wrong. Yeah, you can text and fly much easier than you can text and drive.
Okay.
But yeah, which is probably why my dad is terrified that I fly helicopters, because he thinks I fly helicopters the same way I drive tractors, which would be really
Yeah,
scary.
the margin for error is
It's
way larger.
way less, right? So, but anyway, yeah, there was a fire by the veterans home, and I thought I could turn around in the vineyard in like February. That didn't work out so well. I definitely sunk the fire engine in the mud.
Okay.
Thankfully,
Note
that slowed
to
it down.
self,
thankfully,
if
Yountville
you-
does not have a police log, because I would have been in it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, have you ever been in the police log, Ian?
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not directly.
No.
I've probably been around a group of people late in the evening where it's been loud, potentially.
Okay. A
But
party, perhaps, maybe?
Actually, you know what? I saw something here. All right, so this is on September 17th, 2019. So if you were just to imagine this same call being from 2011, 2012 maybe, report of a juvenile sneaking out of the house.
That was it.
That was me. Talk about Hunt Street. I used to live about like 7 houses east of you.
Whoa.
And one time a friend and
Oh, I didn't know this is where you
and I
grew
were
up.
leaving
Cool.
on a Friday at my
Okay,
house. Parents, I love you. Probably at like 11:35. And mind you, the Safeway in St. Helena closes at 11:30.
A store on Hunt.
It's a Safeway.
So-
I mean, it's a Hunt Avenue business.
So we were walking by Safeway when a squad car pulled up to
Ooh.
my friend and I, and they said, "Where are you going?"
Hey, guys.
And I said, "We're going to Safeway." And like, it just closed like 5 minutes ago. So where are you going? And they're like, "I'm going home."
Did you ever make you... So literally you just took like a 2-block walk and then went home? Please tell me you did something else.
I went the long way.
Okay, good. To the
And you
party
swung
on the
by
way home.
another premise.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Well, speaking of noise in the middle of the night, Thursday, 9 minutes after midnight,
Oh, boy.
on September 23rd, someone heard whistling at the end of Kid Ranch Road. Police found vineyard workers whistling while they worked.
Was this a?
Wait.
It was a pick then.
So that's what
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I was
9 minutes
thinking.
after midnight.
People
I mean,
don't.
honestly, that's like an early pick.
Early
Yeah,
start.
so people might not understand this. A lot of my friends are confused if they
Yeah.
drive through the valley during harvest, like, why is everything lit up? Because we pick at night.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Yeah.
people quite get that. So this makes sense to me, like, growing up here, that, like, people are out there working in the middle of the night, and I love that they had a tune to it.
And they were whistling. What do you think they were whistling? Like the...
Whistle, why? What's the
they were
Snow
whistling
White
while
song?
you work, yeah.
Yeah.
The Seven Dwarfs.
Insert song here.
Whistle while we work. Something.
Just whistle while you work.
Yeah. But that's just magical to me. Like, wouldn't it be cool if every vineyard had, like, a song that they worked on all season, then we could have, like, a competition? Like, at the end of harvest? I'm serious, like a Pitch Perfect type of
How about a
competition.
mixtape? Like the Napa
Yeah,
Valley
so
mixtape.
there's a competition.
Yeah.
All the crews can submit the song they've worked on all harvest season, and then we all can get a CD of all
Yeah,
their
we'll
songs.
call it like Whistle Pella
Yes!
instead of acapella.
Yes!
Napella.
I'm
Napella.
dreaming big here.
Very big.
But
I
I'm
like it.
at 12:44 in the morning on a Saturday. So Friday night gone wrong. A man reported being punched in the face on Main Street. Police arrested a 29-year-old St. Helena man on suspicion of public intoxication. It was the punching that gave it away?
What day was that?
On September 20th, 2014.
Because on August 27th, 2019, I know that's like 5 years later, but at midnight, a man came into the police department saying he'd been punched in the face. He didn't need medical attention, but he just wanted to talk to an officer.
I bet it was the same guy, and he had just some, like, emotional issues that he just needed to talk through after all these years.
And he forgot to mention, I got punched in the face 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think that was it.
And
which is why he didn't need medical attention, because it already healed.
It was fine.
Yes.
Wow, I think we just got to the bottom of that. That's amazing.
And he didn't want to file a report. He just needed to, like, chat about it.
Yeah. Free counseling services.
That's like, have you seen now in Corona, people will go onto, like, live chats on businesses and just, like, chat it up with the person. They're like, so what do you need? And they're like, nothing. I just, like, thought I'd say hello.
That's perfect.
It's a thing.
Well, at least you weren't this guy who on September 15th of 2014, an officer provided traffic control after grapes were spilled into the northbound lane of Highway 29.
Oh.
Ouch, right?
Ouch.
What do you
Northbound.
think? Northbound even.
In the morning. Northbound 29 is brutal during harvest. Oh my god.
So I've seen this happen before.
Were you driving?
Where people lost a load of grapes, and the guys, they get out there with a shovel and they put them right back in the bins.
Yeah, that's brutal.
What do you think happens to those grapes?
They wash them for 30 seconds. Happy birthday times 2.
No, I think that the driver doesn't relay that anything happened because he doesn't want to get in trouble. So this is like a bin fell off, or grapes bounced out.
I have seen like 14 bins fall off a truck before.
Okay, so like I don't know how a driver recovers from that because they typically don't have a forklift. But if they try to load it back in, I would.
No, it's just pre-crushed.
I know it's pre-crushed.
It's pre-crushed street Syrah from Highway 29 AVA. Right? It just has some residual notes of insurance claim in there.
Yeah.
And asphalt.
Special tar.
It's a little bit
Rutherford tar.
Hints of black tar and Rutherford dust.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Well, here's some other road insights. So, September 17th, 2019, report of a reckless driver near Spring Mountain.
Spring
I don't
Mountain's
know
a rough
about
place.
you.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever crossed that mountain without
Spring
being
Mountain?
slightly reckless, even the safest I've ever tried to drive.
Do you realize I drive that every single day?
What about that tree that's like right in the middle of the road?
There's
Like,
2.
By
Yeah.
definition, you are being a reckless driver by going through that tree.
There's also-
you are in the middle of the road,
You are.
no matter how you slice
100%
it.
are. There's also some potholes, like
Yep.
a little bit up above that, and it's definitely, so if you're driving up the hill, it's better on the downhill side.
What?
See, Hillhop lives high up on Spring Mountain top.
And like I really like my car. Dorinda and I are BFFs, so like I like to treat her well. So like I will drive on the left side of the road so I don't go through as many potholes. So like yeah, I agree with you. It's a hazard. It's what I'm getting at.
Can we get back to the naming of the car here? What was
the car's name?
Dorinda.
Oh my goodness.
I just spit out some my wine. You know you're doing well when your bottle of wine is gone within like the first 20 minutes of a podcast taping.
It's true. I'm proud. It's awesome.
So what are your plans? So you've already sold out, but can 911 Wine listeners get a hold of you and like get on a waiting list? Like how can they get some California icons?
So I am still learning during this process.
Cool.
I am developing a website right now using Wix, which is essentially the same as Squarespace or any of those other personal website building tools. So direct-to-consumer options are somewhat limited. I am licensed to do that, but as far as having that being tied into the backside of the website, I haven't done that yet. So in the future, and in this fall, I will be releasing a red as well, which I'm really excited about, and you'll have to.
Can you tell us what the icon is?
No, not
Can't
yet.
know what the icon is.
Not yet. No,
man.
it's,
Can we have one tiny bit of snippet of information that you'll only get by listening to this podcast?
Yeah, special.
Like a clue.
well, like it'll be the
a
first
treat.
insight for everybody else, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody's ever heard of it. Yeah, it's really good. There you go.
Well, now that you're on 911 Wine, you've basically arrived. All marketing events from this point on are just going to be downhill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
I mean, you're going to reach
existential.
about 17 people with this podcast. So
Oh, way more than that. I look
Like
at
I
those
said,
numbers
I'm
every
happy
morning.
to be here. This is cool. And like on a Friday night, being outdoors during quarantine and
Yeah.
just chatting, like, hey, it's a good spot to be. But
Absolutely.
in the
Well-
future, yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, just trying to continue. This is a small project, so I'm self-funded. So basically, what you do with the rosé, a lot of people start with whites and rosés so that you can get that return a little bit faster.
Yep.
And then help
going.
to do cash flow and
Yeah.
generate for the reds in the future. So,
So if someone wanted to buy your wine now, California, where would they would go to? Good Egg.
they would go. No, so you just
Or-
shoot me a message. Honestly,
Okay, shoot, that's the best way.
yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am 100% transparent. Super
Yeah,
easy.
Cool.
and we'll
to
definitely
help
want you to list all your stuff at the end
Okay,
on how we
cool.
can stalk you,
Absolutely.
contact you.
Yeah.
You guys have like a website. I mean, you're working on the website.
I have a web. Yeah, the
Instagram's
website's
up.
live. It's getting
Yep.
continuously improved.
Cool.
But
But Insta's the way to go.
Insta
Just like
and
our
email.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's
All
fun.
300.
It's definitely like
Great.
in this world too.
Yeah.
It's amazing what kind of things people can do on
So
Instagram.
yeah. So what have you learned with just in the last 3 months about marketing and selling wine and
Yeah. So
that aspect?
to be honest, it's kind of it's awesome because the brands
Mm-hmm.
are geographically located and they're very specific for that place. So when you do promotions on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and you tag a certain area, that's exactly where the wine is, and that's where you should be selling it. So it's like very targeted on that. So Instagram, I think, is going to be a huge part of
Yeah.
of how this brand grows and does well, especially because of the proximity of friends sharing photos of a wine that their other friends live close to,
Yeah.
and just kind of building that like circle out. So I'm actually really really excited to see
Cool.
how it does, and it's all about in this like first 2 or 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
just making sure that I like try to saturate that as much as possible.
Nice.
So learning.
Well, and
really.
it's scrumptious, which helps.
So good.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
what's
yeah.
the price point on the rosé right now?
Yeah, so it's $17.99
Sweet,
on
man.
Good Eggs. So it's my goal is to have all the wines that I ever put out be less than $20.
I love that because it's something scrumptious, but you're not like breaking the bank.
Yeah. So it's something that you won't have any guilt
I
grabbing
like
off
it.
the
I
shelf.
like it. So here's a question on that. So there's been a lot of like news lately about millennials, blah blah blah, not wanting to get in that same wine market that their parents are in, and going for different, not even drinking as much wine, right? Like going
Yeah.
for more of the craft cocktail scene and beer and all that. So
seltzers and everything else.
yeah. So what? Yeah, exactly. So how do you feel the marketing to millennials and that whole aspect affects what you're doing?
Well, I think a rosé.
Well, so rosés are
Rosé
still
all
very,
day.
very prominent.
course.
To be honest, I'm like super impressed with how all the other categories in the adult beverage industry are doing.
Uh-huh.
I think that's amazing how cocktails and seltzers are as well. So, as aggravated as you want to be from their success as being a competitor, you kind of have to be like, it's awesome that you guys filled this niche.
Yeah.
So, I think that wine will stay. I think that it's an amazing accompaniment to food, and that will not be replaced. It would be very hard pressed to see somebody prefer to have like a White Claw while they're having ceviche or like something like that. It's just
Good
like
point.
you
It's
you
still-
want
you need that. For
you just
certain
well
foods,
just like when it comes down to it, the flavors work better together.
Yeah.
So I think that it's not as much of an argument as like wine versus other things. I think you just kind of you stay in your category.
Nice.
But it is very interesting. No, it's super fun to see
So,
those numbers.
as you said earlier, you're organizing for like that long period, organizing that wine cellar and seeing all the, for the Bordeaux varieties and all the different types of either high end, middle range, or low end wine. And how do you think that is going to translate? So, do you think our generation is going to get into those other wines, or are they going to stay more at the more fun aspect of wine in the lower levels? What do you think? You think those will translate over that the
Yeah. So
the
well,
parents
in
are-
general, as as people age, the price point of their wines increases. That's just a normal as people become more financially secure.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're going through something right now that's going to affect people's ability to do that for
Forever,
I mean,
possibly.
I mean, some prolonged amount of time. So basically, the whole premise of the price points that I'm trying to do was developed before this happened, so it's going to be consistent through it. So that sub $20 category, I think, is just a nice spot to be for a casual drink for some, and maybe stepping out of a boundary for others, but still just being in a nice
Sweet spot.
nice sweet spot.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Because you don't, like you said, you don't feel guilty about it. You can buy a case.
Yeah.
And drink whatever you want.
Yeah, totally. No, it's awesome, and like it's kind of dangerous, right? So you have your bottling samples, and you're like, well, it's a beautiful day outside. Might as well sit outside and have a glass or three. Or
do you get high on your own supply?
I mean, unfortunately, not too often because I've been like dropping off all these samples everywhere and tasting with everybody. But I definitely enjoy taking some time and slowing down and enjoying what I've made.
That's cool.
It's been kind of fun to do that.
That's awesome, man. I think you're onto something because that's a really cool project, great label, and just like you said, being able to tie that with a location and a brand, you've got kind of two aspects that are working for you. So
it's awesome. Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We'll see how it does.
Well, speaking of excitement, report of a reckless driver heading north on Moneyway. Do you guys know where Moneyway is?
Reckless driving on Moneyway? That is dangerous.
Do you know where Moneyway is?
No, but
Moneyway,
if you're not reckless driving on Moneyway, baby, what are you doing?
That sounds like a lifestyle change, you know?
Moneyway is that little alley road right behind Main Street, like behind Junie's, the deli. That's Moneyway.
Wow, reckless. So reckless is in like rolling those sneaky stop signs in there. Or?
It was a gold BMW station wagon with not one but two teenage girls.
So that to me says reckless right off the bat.
They swerved through the Sunshine parking lot at a high rate speed and almost hit the collar.
You know what I think it was?
An Allstate commercial.
No, the Junie juice. It got to him.
They just got going.
You know what I heard today? I heard that Junies sold
Reopened.
out of bread.
I believe that.
They were out.
So
and
good.
I wonder, it was like, okay, did they think that opening up they would scale up to regular production, or do they start at normal orders and they still sold out?
I think they maybe...
And how do you sell out of bread? Like, how is that the thing that you sell out
Well,
of?
because they probably have to order that somewhat fresh because, bread goes stale.
Oh, totally,
and no one wants like a stale loaf. So I wonder if they did to like their normal production or less, because this was their first day back in action.
Oh, that was today. This
Today.
is fresh news.
Oh, this is totally fresh. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, that makes sense. Like, you don't want to invest, in your overhead.
Yeah, and
without knowing what kind of traction
Junie's,
you're
I
going to get.
feel like during the week does have a lot of tourists that'll kind of just be walking around and be like, oh my gosh, I need a sandwich, and they don't even know that they're getting this incredible sandwich.
It's like one of a kind. Like that
that's
shop
what I
is
mean.
one of a kind.
It is
It's kinda-
incredible.
It's like
That's so awesome. I think there was so much pent up demand for Junies. during
Yeah,
this
just
whole
like
thing
a sandwich.
that everyone was like, "It's open today. I'm going."
Yeah. Do you guys have favorite restaurants?
Oh my
Yes.
god, do I? You first.
Like a top two, top three.
two. Does it have to be St. Helena, or can I expand to the Valley?
You can expand to the dog.
But one of my
what
favorite
else?
places now, I love Don Giovanni, and their short ribs with risotto is one of my favorite meals.
Awesome.
But every restaurant here, I probably have like a favorite meal.
Yeah. Like a favorite dish. Yeah, favorite
Like a
dish
favorite,
within-
like that's
yeah.
the thing. It's hard for me to pick like a favorite place.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fresh pulled mozzarella from
Yep.
either Pizzeria Trevino or Brasswood. Cook risotto, I think, is the best risotto
Cook risotto is amazing.
In
Jude
the-
does a really good job.
in the Valley. La Luna quesadilla.
Man. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when I was in survival school in 2008.
This
Fort
is what
Rucker.
brings you back to survival school.
brings-
And they say, think about your favorite things in order to get through.
You're sitting there and you haven't eaten for a week, and all you can do is talk about like, oh man.
Really?
Yeah, when
They do
I
that.
get out of this, oh man, I'm going to like
And what did you want?
get a pizza. I'm going to Burger King. I'm going to anything, man, anything. But at day 5, without eating, they gave us a little sack of rice and a potato. And man, we cut that potato up 5 ways and the rice up 5 ways, and it was maybe about a cup of food total,
Cup of rice, yeah.
And it tasted like a T-bone steak, man, the best thing I ever had. So immediately after 3 weeks of survival school, I went home, and I was like, I want to replicate that potato and rice I had in the middle of this Alabama woods.
And it was not the same?
And it was absolutely not the same. But man, in the moment, That was
That's
a
super.
5-course
Can
meal.
you extrapolate a little bit on like what
sure,
that experience was
which,
like and not eating?
Which
and...
reminds me of now, because we can't eat at all these places.
Yes.
So now we're talking about, oh my God, when the corona is over, I'm going to cook, I'm going to Farmstead, I'm going to Trevina.
Farmstead
it's gonna
Margarita.
happen, right? So,
Anywho,
well,
speaking,
this has been awesome.
How are we doing?
I think we've got some more crime to cover.
Do we? What are we at right now?
Doesn't even matter.
I
Embrace
think-
the moment.
I mean, we don't do.
I'm just asking. Do you have a good last entry?
Speaking of a little crime and wine action, because I'm thinking some wine maybe was involved in this. 12 minutes after midnight. The day is Saturday.
I like how you
The
frame this.
manager of a Spring Street restaurant reported a problem with a customer who couldn't pay her bill. She said she was from Ireland and was trying to convince the manager to keep one of her identification cards until she returned the next day to pay her bill. Police arrested the 24-year-old Forest Lake woman on 2 warrants from Orange County and on suspicion of defrauding an innkeeper or restaurateur and possession of marijuana.
Wow.
Amazing.
Laundry list.
Do you think she had an Irish accent?
I think she must have if she
like a
tried to
fake?
impersonate. Yeah. And the fact that they gave a detail, they said a Spring Street restaurant, which would be one of two.
One of two. It's
That
definitely
pizza
not
place?
that pizza place.
Or Goose and Gander.
definitely
But
Goose.
this was
She's the Goose.
2014.
Oh, it was Martini House. Or was it Goose?
No, it was Goose.
It
It was Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Goose.
Before that was Martini House.
Do you think
So
she
she
was
was downstairs having an industry special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
All of a
is
sudden,
a Hams.
Can we really share this with the world?
I think we can. It's a Hams
with
and
the amount of followers we have, we'll send it to you.
Goose and Gander were available
Plug.
to be the your number one
Goose
sponsor.
and Gander burger with bone marrow and duck fat fries. Oh,
But the industry
my
special
gosh.
is a Hams and a what?
and a
shot
shot.
of.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So-
it's the best deal in town.
I really appreciate Goose and Gander for St. Louis. I think it
Yep.
provides something that's like very unique as far as atmosphere. It's like a space that is so rare
So
for
cool.
us in such a small town to be able to, like it is our glimpse at nightlife, but it maintains
With a small
that
town vibe.
air of just simple to
Yeah.
the point, not trying to do something it's not.
It
Which,
feels
like,
like
is
you're
really
in a,
neat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Do you guys
I
have
miss it tremendously.
an entry to close us out?
I think you nailed it, Hill. I've got nothing remaining.
And
Yeah,
somehow
I think we're all cleaned out.
No, I think we got it.
Well, Ian, tell us how to get in contact with you to buy your wine, to follow you, to just
Yeah, so
like.
anybody who's listening, if they don't know me personally, with my
We've got a lot of
myself
followers
yeah.
worldwide,
Oh, beautiful. So
at least
yeah, so my name is
across the state.
Worldwide.
If they were traveling,
one person in Canada who could get no other podcast was like, well, I guess I'll listen to this garbage.
Yeah, they were trying to get like
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn 99, but 911.
Found 911.
Shut up.
And they were like, "This is the best thing I've
Yeah.
ever discovered."
I'm
So,
sure that's what they said.
My name is Ian McCaffrey, and the best way would be to go to californiaicons.com or email me directly at ian@californiaicons.com. And within both of those, I will be able to feed you towards the Instagram page, which we're doing some really cool stuff, which is awesome. And appreciate you guys for having me on. It's been super fun.
Thank
It's
you
my
so
first
much
my
for
first
coming.
podcast and inaugural release.
Yeah,
So
and just know the first time you heard about California Icons was on 911. You should go buy some. It's really dang good. So
It really
thanks for sharing
is.
tonight
Like
with
it
us,
is
Ian.
the perfect time before
So
summer
awesome.
to just
Cheers.
like soak it up.
love it.
So we will be following you on Instagram, and that's 911 Podcast, all spelled out, no numbers. We also have a Facebook page you can like, and you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever your heart desires. Just give that a quick little Google search. Please subscribe and rate 5 stars. Don't rate if you're going to rate lower than that. Just listen. And I think that's...
As a
about
reminder, Hillary does all the social media, all of the editing, all of the promotion. I just show up.
Except when Chris actually goes on and answers messages or just responds to his own personal Instagram with compliments from our...
Hey, you know what? Do whatever you can to make yourself feel better in the days of COVID. Thanks,
All
Hill.
right,
Good
thank
job
you.
tonight. Thanks, Ian.
Cheers.
Bye.
Christopher. You enjoy your evening and be safe.